Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Deja Vu here, bringing you set 3 of SKT versus Ace. All tied up, 1-1. Alone taking the first set for SKT, and Cal taking set 2 for Ace. We're tied 1-1. We're going to have Fantasy coming out here, the Terran from the top left for SKT, and then bottom left, using the name Stardust, is M18M, the Protoss player. So kind of surprised me at first. I didn't know what Stardust was. I knew he had been calling himself Innocent for a while, and I guess now he's gone from M18M to Innocent to Stardust. Okay, I guess that works. Anywho, this is going to be a tough fight, I think, for M18M. I mean, the last set was going to be pretty tough for Cal, but a great win by him. He's looking like he's in really good form. M18M, I think, is going to have an even harder fight here, going up against one of the duo aces for SKT in Fantasy. Fantasy is one of the best TV peers of all time, and has really looked just unstoppable through huge stretches of his career. Granted, he's taken a lot of silvers, he's taken a lot of beatings throughout the year as well, and a lot of grief for his GG timings, a lot of things like that, but Fantasy is still a fantastic player, one of the best TV peers, and has a really good harassive style too. So Fantasy is going to be here in the top left, and M18M in the bottom left. I don't think I'm going to be able to call him Stardust. I just don't. Maybe. Yeah. It's really hard to call someone Stardust. It's just like it's hard to call Free Pretty. Like, it's just hard to call Free Pretty and, like, take it seriously at all. It is very, very difficult to impossible. I can't do it. So, or if someone started calling themselves Fairy or like anything, or Innocent, I couldn't even call him Innocent. Like, it's just such a random name that makes no sense that, I don't know, I just can't do it. So I think I'm gonna just stick to trying to call him M18M and hope that works. On one side for M18M, we've got the 12 next coming in, and on the other side for Fantasy, we've got that forward Rax. So if he gets the scout off first, if he goes to the bottom left first, we actually could see a rush come in here with the SCVs, with the first couple Marines, and see if this game could end very, very quickly if the SCV scout goes in the proper direction. We'll check this out right now. SCV is going to go to the right, so he's going to be going in the wrong direction. Will the other SCV scout as well? Other SCV is going to scout, maybe? What's he doing? Nope, gonna build another supply depot, so not gonna get another scout, and looks like this is gonna be one Rax expand versus a 12 next. 12 next, of course, does get the advantage in this situation. Anytime you go, you know, Nexus before command center, you are going to have the advantage in the economic builds. But one Rax Expo is no slouch. It certainly is a very, very strong economic build nonetheless. Won't be light years behind, certainly just a little bit behind. And certainly Fantasy has the ability to come back from this type of deficit. The scout going in from the top right, now going to the bottom right for Fantasy, and M18M actually going with a cross scout position, a cross scout going first. It's interesting going cross scout when your Protoss is very interesting. Because you really want your opponent to be at cross positions, and if your Terran is at cross positions, it really opens up a lot of avenues for you. You really know a lot more about the push timings and how much space you have to work with. It's actually pretty important. So interesting to go for that first, just to see if he's there. And unfortunately, this is the risk that you run. He goes top right, and now he's going bottom right, and that's actually going to hurt him pretty badly because he's not going to get a scout off on Fantasy forever, ever. And he's going to go all the way to the bottom right, then turn all the way back around. And it just takes a really, really long time, and that is the risk that you run going for that cross scout position. Finally, it looks like Fantasy Scout is going to get in right now as well. And the first Zealot is out, going towards the top left. It is not going to be able to do much of anything. That Zealot is going to go out, really not going to be able to do anything, as Fantasy comes in here with the Scout, sees that it is a 12 next. I think he knows based upon the SB saturation that it is a 12 next, and as well as the timing of the second gateway. I think that kind of gives it away a lot there for Fantasy. So Fantasy's right on top of it, knows exactly what's going on here. Sees the Zealot now as well, and Fantasy needs to micro his Marines. Not going to? Okay, Fantasy a little careless there, not microing his Marines at all, and loses one as a result. So that Zealot actually paying off in its little mini assault there. So good for M18M. Little victories. We like little victories here in StarCraft. Little victories tend to snowball into larger victories. So if there's going to be small wins for anyone at the beginning, we really need them to go for M18M. Just even though he has that 12 next advantage, I just really, it's so hard for me to favor him in this game. You know, if I was betting man, if the line was here, it'd be like, I don't even know, it'd be like fantasy -6 or something like that. Although I don't really know how you would, I don't know how they do betting lines in StarCraft. I only know how they do betting lines in like football and like basketball and things, and they tend to be like by point differential and goal differential. So I don't really know how they do betting lines in StarCraft. Probably not a great topic to bring up, but you know, nonetheless, curious nonetheless. Pylon coming up for M18M there at the 12 o'clock position, going to delay the third whenever it does come out for Fantasy. And M18M going to be going carriers here, going 2-base carriers. This isn't quite the Rock build. If this was the Rock, we'd be seeing Reavers into carriers. This is going to be straight into carriers, double gas, going straight for carriers. And yeah, we'll see how this goes. He is stockpiling some gas here. We do see that he's got about 500 gas right now. Looks like he's going to keep stockpiling it as much as he can, just in order so that way when he does get the fleet beacon finished, and he does go the double Stargate, presumably he will be able to get 2 carriers out immediately. Tank is in siege mode. M18M needs to back off. Does manage to do so. Doesn't actually take any true damage on his Dragoon, so that's looking good for him right now. And Fantasy, we did see the Academy come up. I should see the comm stats. There they are. Has he scanned? I don't believe he's scanned it there. There he goes. Scanning the main, not seeing anything. So doesn't see any of the tech. He knows that there is, you know, there has to be some tech somewhere. There's no way a Protoss is going to, well, I guess I shouldn't say there's no way. Of course, there's a possibility that M18 could have expanded again. But it's not very likely that you do that without at least observers at a minimum. You go without the observers before you get your third base, unless you're really ballsy. First carrier is in production. Oh, I'm sorry, that is a Corsair. Okay, so I guess we're taking a page out of like the what was it map? Pathfinder playbook from Jangvi, where you go Corsair first, and then you go and get your carriers a little bit later. The Corsairs, of course, giving you the scouting information that observers normally do. And M18M coming in here with his Dragoons, very, very dangerous. Actually able to do some damage, though. Looks like he was able to pick off the tank. Looks like he's going for the bunker as well. But a bunch of vultures do get into his base, and this is going to be painful. Boys and girls, this is not pretty at all. M18M is going to lose a ridiculous amount of probes right now. And by the time his Dragoons come in, that could be a terrible mine. Oh, only one probe got down. I actually winced there. I was afraid that entire stack was going to die. Whew, this is a tough spot though still for M18M, and he actually is going to do a pylon wall just to keep those vultures at least in his main, keep them out of his natural, so at least he's mining from somewhere. M18M on the other hand is doing a lot of counter damage, taking out a lot of SCVs as well, but SCVs are just tremendous fighters, and all it takes to defeat, you know, 10 Dragoons is a couple of tanks and the SCV wall, and M18M already forced to retreat, so Fantasy is going to once again be able to start mining from both of his bases once more, as M18M is not. In fact, he can't even move his Dragoons. You see these Dragoons that they can't even move, and these vultures continue to pick off probes. So this is getting very, very sad very, very quickly for M18M. Yeah, this is just not good at all. And he's not, like, these carriers are going to pop. He doesn't have the money to produce more than, like, an interceptor in each, or 2 interceptors in each. And this game is coming becoming very, very tragic very, very quickly. This is very, very depressing to watch. Poor M18. Oh god, this is just, I don't even know what to say. This is just awful. This is just very, very depressing to watch. The vultures, the Fantasy harassed vultures, just basically they just won the game. Basically, it's over. M18M's going to get a couple carries out. He's not really going to have the money to build more than a handful of interceptors in each. And there it goes. And Fantasy's just I mean, to really fight off 1 or 2 carriers that don't really have a whole lot of minerals and don't really have the upgrades or anything like that. I mean, it really doesn't take a whole lot of Goliaths. It takes a handful. You know, 3 or 4 Goliaths will be enough. Especially if this carrier is going to be, you know, right in the middle of the map like this. And what few probes remain, one of them is actually stuck behind the mineral lines, as if it wasn't bad enough for M18M. What little he has is sitting in the back of his mineral line. So this carrier may actually go down, or may be able to survive with just a sliver of health. If it survives, it's going to be barely surviving. It is in the red, and it barely survives. And this command center unable to land because of that pylon, as this Corsair has taken off like half of his health, which is hilarious. And M18M kind of in that grimace laugh, doesn't know whether to laugh or cry state right now. But this is just awful, and God, This is just, I mean, this is just painful to watch. It really is, and you just feel bad for him. This is just not gonna work. You know, he's gonna pick up a couple tanks here. It doesn't really matter though. He has no observers, so these dragoons that are actually in the mineral line defensively can't go anywhere. Very, very depressing. And there we go. We do see the third base has landed next to that pylon and is going to slowly kill it with fire of SCV drills. And, yeah, going to slowly destroy it. And 2 carriers are going to go and sneak past the Goliaths, but what are they going to do? Absolutely nothing, because there will be another round of Goliaths. There they are. And as soon as the carriers get revealed, we'll see the 3 Goliaths turn around and be able to usher away 2 carriers without too much problem. And maybe M18M can do something too entertaining here in somehow, like, to give us some fun at least as this game comes to a close. Maybe some ridiculously powerful and awesome carrier micro where 2 carriers can beat like 10 Goliaths, which I don't see happening. And here come the Goliaths to clean things up. There, a mine goes off, and what else we got here? Goliaths coming in here, gonna clean up the dragoons. Goliaths generally don't do well against dragoons, but when they have this many against this few, they do just fine. And there goes the final dragoon, GG, coming in from Stardust, M18M, Innocent, in what was basically a fantasy demolition derby, and just took M18M to house. Those vultures just, you know, I didn't even want to count. I'm guessing 20 plus, 25 probe kills, something insane. 12 necks and no necks, it doesn't matter. Fantasy gets the win and gives SKT the lead, 2-1. So we'll be going on to the 4th set, which will be an opportunity for SKT to finish off the series, and we'll see who gets to play in the next set. I'm not going to reveal it because it's supposed to be hidden. You can only know the first 3 sets. That's right, that's my rule. You can only get to know the people in the first 3 sets. But I'll see you guys all in set 4. Coming at you.